Tonight at 3 a.m. my granddaughter whispers. They will steal your fortune, Grandpa. It was the witching hour, 3 a.m., when shadows whispered and dreams darkened. The house stood eerily quiet, except for the soft creaks of the old floors. That's when all hell broke loose. Little Lily, my 4-year-old granddaughter, suddenly sat straight up in bed, eyes wide as saucers. It was as if something unseen had jolted her from her peaceful dreams. Her whisper sliced through the silence like a knife. They will steal your fortune, Grandpa. Her voice trembled, quivering with a mix of fear and certainty. First, I brushed it off, chiding her for letting her imagination run wild. But the look in her eyes, oh man, there was something unnatural in that gaze. All the toys in her room cast long, eerie shadows, as if they were listening closely, ready to spring into action at any moment. The air chilled. It felt like the walls were closing in, suffocating with secrets. My heart raced, the sound echoing in my ears, pounding like a drum in the dark. And then the strange things started happening. The corners of the room blinked with strange flickering lights, but when I turned to look, nothing but stillness. A chill crept up my spine. My mind raced to the last family gathering when I mentioned my savings. Had I attracted something sinister? A wave of panic washed over me. What if Lily was right? What if someone was out there plotting to take away everything I worked for? The mere thought made my hands shake. Fear gripped me as I recalled my grandfather's warnings about family curses and restless spirits. A family fortune comes with a price, he had said, but I thought they were just tales to keep kids in line. As I looked into Lily's guileless face, a knot formed in my stomach. Was she merely a child talking nonsense? Or was she a vessel of wisdom? I couldn't shake off the feeling that we were being watched. That dark eyes lingered just beyond the flimsy walls of our home as I drew Lily close, whispering reassurances. The clock ticked loudly in the background, each tick amplifying my nerves. Was it just my imagination? Or could I really feel someone behind me? My gut twisted. I turned quickly, expecting to see someone lurking, but only shadows played tricks on my tired eyes. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The room felt alive, charged with something dark and powerful, as I held Lily close. Every sound, every creak was amplified, echoing in the silence. My mind raced. What if it was all true? Were we truly in danger? I could almost hear them, the prying fingers of fate reaching for my hard-earned fortune. My breath quickened with each second, an urgency building inside me. Suddenly, the lights flickered once again, and a shiver ran down my spine. Her little voice broke through the tension. They're coming for you, Grandpa. My heart thumped loudly, drowning out everything. Who would come for me? And why? As the darkness loomed closer, engulfing our fears in its suffocating embrace, I realized I needed to know the truth before it was too late. The air thickened around us, swirling with a dread that was palpable. I could feel Lily's tiny frame tremble in my arms, her trust in me both a comfort and a heavy weight. Grandpa, they're here. Her whisper was barely audible, yet it pierced the silence like a scream, rattling through the darkness of the night. I glanced around the room again, searching for any sign of an intruder. The shadows seemed to shift, elongating and twisting in grotesque ways. What once were familiar shapes transformed into dark figures, menacing and lurking. It's okay, sweetheart. We need to be brave, I said, though my voice quavered. I forced myself to sound calm, but inside, panic clawed its way up my throat. Just then, the old grandfather clock in the corner chimed ominously. Once, twice, 3 times. With each chime, dread washed over me anew. Lily, can you tell me who's coming? What do they look like? I asked, my heart racing. She stared at the door as if entranced, her eyes wide, pupils dilating. They wear shadows like cloaks and they have hungry eyes, she replied slowly, her words sending a chill straight through my veins. I could hardly breathe. The idea of faceless shadows with insatiable desires was too much for my frail heart. I backed away from the door, drawing Lily even closer to me, hoping that somehow my presence would shield her from whatever malevolence awaited us. Gritting my teeth, I tried to gather my thoughts. If someone was indeed out there, I needed to protect us. But how? I wasn't exactly a fighter. Suddenly, the front door creaked, an eerie sound cutting through our fragile bubble of safety. Someone was trying to get in. My heart thudded violently. "Stay quiet, Lily," I whispered urgently. The footsteps outside were faint but deliberate, scraping against the wooden porch. They were here. Then came the voice. A low, sinister murmur floated through the air, chilling my bones. "Open up. We know you're in there." It was a voice that I'd never heard before, but it carried an unsettling familiarity, as if it belonged to someone I had buried deep in my history. It was then I felt it, the sudden flicker of a memory, a childhood tale of a distant relative who had sought to claim the family fortune by any means possible. My stomach turned. The whispers echoed my grandfather's warnings about wicked bloodlines. Another thud rattled the door. I fought the urge to bolt, but 100 thoughts swirled in my mind. Was it greed that drove these figures to threaten us? Or something even more sinister? "Can't we just leave?" I asked Lily, my voice trembling just above a whisper. "No, we can't leave, Grandpa. We need to stay." She clamped her tiny hands around my arm, her grip firm. I sighed, the reality of our situation crashing down like a heavy weight. This wasn't just a game for her to play. "Then we'll wait," I replied, but my words felt hollow. How could we wait when dread seeped in from every crack of our home? Would help ever come? But before I could think further, the door rattled violently, and with a final push, the entrance burst open. Darkness poured in like a living thing, swirling with a cruel energy. I stumbled back, arms instinctively shielding Lily as I steeled myself to face whatever evil had come to our threshold. But then, amid the swirling black, a figure stepped forward. Recognizable, menacing. A face I hadn't seen in over a decade. "Hello, Grandpa," the voice sneered. And with it came a rush of memories, long buried but now rearing their ugly heads. My blood froze. What had I unleashed? As the air thickened with tension, one thought consumed me: could I protect Lily from this darkness that had returned to reclaim what it believed was rightfully its? Would I stand strong against the shadows or become their next victim? The figure took a step closer. The dim light from the lamp flickered, casting an eerie glow on his face. I blinked, unwilling to accept the reality of the moment. It was Caleb, my long-lost brother, the one who had vanished years ago after taking a dark path that left our family shattered. "What do you want?" I managed to croak out, my throat dry, heart pounding in my chest. Behind me, Lily's grip tightened, her little fingers digging into my arm. She could sense the danger that lurked just beyond our dim sphere of safety. Caleb grinned, but it was a cold, almost ravenous smile. "What I've always wanted, brother. Our inheritance, what's rightly mine." The air felt electric, buzzing with the weight of his words. He had always been fixated on the family fortune, haunted by the ghost of what he thought he deserved. "It's not yours, Caleb," I said, my mind racing, recalling more than just the fortune, but the warnings of darkness our grandfather had always imparted. "Think about it, Grandpa," he cooed, sarcasm lacing his tone. "The old man lives in a fantasy world filled with his ghost stories. But now it's our turn to rewrite the narrative. You and I both know what power lies within these walls." The shadows around him seemed to expand, writhing at his command as if they shared his cruel intent. I felt an unnatural chill sweep over the room, a manifestation of Caleb's dark ambitions. "Get out," I hissed, anger flaring beneath the fear. "You have no claim here." Lily whispered urgently, "Grandpa, please, we should go." Her voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried the weight of desperation that squeezed at my heart. "No, Lily," I said more firmly. "We need to face him." Caleb laughed, the sound harsh and jagged. It cut through the tension, eliciting a flicker of primal fear deep in my gut. "Is that so? Let us see how brave you are when I show you what I've become." I scanned the room, looking for an escape route, but my options were dwindling. "What have you done?" The question slipped from my lips, unsettling in its simplicity. I could feel the world tilt on its axis. "Arranged a meeting," he said, taking another predatory step toward me, "with those who will help me to seize what should rightfully belong to the true heirs. Shadows don't just wear cloaks, Grandpa. They have an insatiable thirst for power." I trembled. This was more than just greed. It was a dance with darkness, a darkness that was gathering around us. Without knowing what I would say or do next, I instinctively shielded Lily further behind me. Lily, listen to me, I started, but the words fell flat. How could I reassure her when I was gripped by fear myself? Isn't it just a little thrilling? Caleb murmured, eyes glinting with madness. To finally confront our past? You cling to your old tales, but in this world it's about survival, not sentiment. The shadows behind him twisted, reacting to the chaos in the air, as if they were the extensions of his foul intentions. I could almost hear them whispering my name, coaxing me to surrender. But I wouldn't. Not to Caleb. Not to whatever this darkness had become. Yet just as I was about to respond, the lights flickered violently, then went out, plunging us into impenetrable darkness. A suffocating silence enveloped us, as if the very walls were blocking out life itself. Grandpa! Lily's voice quavered in the dark. Hold on to me, I urged, my heart racing. Whatever happens, we don't let go. A softer laugh fell into the abyss. This is just the beginning then. A low whisper slithered through the darkness, an ominous promise that nothing would ever be the same again. What would I do next? Could I find a way to combat the darkness closing in on us? Or was our fate already sealed? Panic clawed at my throat as I clutched Lily's hand tightly in the inky darkness. I could feel the tremors in her small fingers. The air grew heavy, pressing against us like an old, suffocating blanket. Without the flickering light, I felt disoriented, lost among the familiar outlines of furniture now reduced to monstrous shapes. Caleb! I called out, the name bursting from my lips like a silent scream. My voice trembled, revealing how fragile my resolve had become. What is this? What have you done? His laughter broke through the void, echoing ominously off the walls. Can't you feel it? The power swirling around us? It's alive. The madness in his tone sent shivers down my spine. I'm no longer just the brother who disappeared. I'm something more. The darkness responded to his words, swirling like a storm around us. I felt a chill creep through my body, a palpable sense of dread that begged me to run. Yet I had to stay strong, not just for me but for Lily. Caleb, you need to stop this. This isn't you. I pleaded, desperation rife in my voice. But he drew closer, and I could feel the heat radiating from him, a stark contrast to the coldness that filled the room. You don't understand, brother. I've transcended, and soon you'll join me. We'll be powerful enough to claim what is ours. Why couldn't he see? This wasn't power, it was a curse. I had to make him understand, but the shadows whispered to me too. They promised strength, revenge, and an end to our family's suffering. I shook my head, trying to clear the poison from my thoughts. Lily, stay behind me, I whispered, hoping she couldn't sense the fear pouring from me. She must know. Somehow she was always wiser than I gave her credit for. I'm scared, Grandpa, she murmured, her small voice fragile as porcelain. Before I could respond, the darkness shifted, coiling through the air like a living thing. A chill slithered up my spine. There was something else lurking within, not just Caleb's madness, but something darker, infinitely more ancient. Do you feel them? Caleb taunted. They're waiting for your acceptance. Shadows bend to will, and my will is strong. Your will isn't strong, Caleb. It's corrupted. I shouted, my voice trembling with a mix of anger and panic. You can fight this, but he interrupted, laughter more like a growl. Why fight it when I can embrace it? They've promised me everything if I bring you to them. Just step into the darkness and all of this could be ours. A visceral tug of temptation pulled at my heart. Images swirled in my mind, visions of power and wealth. But I clenched my eyes shut, willing those thoughts away. I had to be strong enough, not just for myself but for Lily. And then a scream, shattering, piercing, slashed through the silence. A girl's scream. My heart raced as I turned toward the sound, panic rising anew in my chest. Lily! Grandpa! She cried, her voice laced with terror. In a flash I spun back around, desperate to find her. A moment of chaos erupted as the shadows stirred. They twisted and shifted. Seemingly alive and hungry, I reached out into the darkness, my hands searching. Lily! Hold on to me. But then I felt it, a cold, clammy grip on my wrist. My breath caught in my throat. Have you come to join us, brother? Caleb's voice slid into my ear like a serpent, coaxing me into the depths. No. My shout echoed through the darkness, shattering the ominous calm. I jerked away from the horrid touch, resolute. Then a soft glow flickered to life in the corner of the room, illuminating Caleb's twisted grin. "Welcome to the night," he said, shadows swirling around him as if he were their master. Would I be able to save Lily? The depths of darkness had been unleashed, and it was hungry for what lay within this house. But I wouldn't surrender. Not to Caleb. Not to the darkness. "Let us see if you can withstand the light I'll reveal," I whispered fiercely to myself, bracing for what lay ahead. The fight had just begun. But how would it end? The glow from the corner pulsed, casting eerie shapes that danced along the walls. I could barely focus on Caleb's chilling grin as shadows flickered to life, their forms twisting with ominous intent. The pressure in the air felt thick, like smoke filling my lungs. I had to find Lily, I had to keep her safe. "Lily!" I shouted again, desperation flooding my voice. Panic surged within me as I fought through the suffocating darkness, my heart racing faster than ever before. The walls closed in, the room feeling smaller as if it were alive, joining in Caleb's madness. "Give in, brother," Caleb taunted, his voice a honeyed poison. "They're only waiting for you to join us. Together we can unlock untold power. Why fight the darkness when it can be your ally?" "Shut up," I shouted. My roar filled with fear and defiance echoed, but it was swallowed by the shadows. "You've lost your way. This isn't power, it's destruction." I could hear Lily's whimpers crawling through the air, a sound that pulled at every fiber of my being. I stumbled blindly through the haze, arms outstretched searching for her. "Lily, sweetheart, just stay close. I'm coming." The shadows hissed, a chorus of whispers curling around me. "Join us. Embrace the night." Their words danced in my mind, tempting me with visions of strength, of vengeance against family tragedies. But I had to cling to my memories of light, of laughter, of love. Then amidst the chaos I heard her again, a soft cry drowning the sinister murmurs. "Grandpa! I don't want to be here. Where are you?" Focus on my voice. I strained against the darkness, every effort feeling like swimming through syrup. The shadows pressed against me, inching closer, taunting me, but I kept moving, fueled by a desperate need to shield Lily from this nightmare. Suddenly, I felt a tug on my shirt, the tiniest of grips that sent a shockwave through me. "I've got you," I gasped, turning to pull her into my arms. In that moment, warmth flooded through me, pushing against the frigid sensation of the dark. But before I could react, a sinister laugh erupted from Caleb. "You think you can protect her? You should know her blood is just as powerful as ours." "Caleb, no," I cried, panic exploding in my chest. I turned, shoving aside the shadows that writhed like angry snakes. "You will never touch her." As I stepped into the faint glow, I saw Caleb transforming, his face contorting with rage and something that made my stomach drop: hunger, a deep craving fueled by dark forces. The glow flickered, revealing his true form. Pale skin stretched taut over bone, eyes gleaming with electric energy. He was falling into something dark and primal. "Lily, stay behind me," I urged, my heart raced at the sight of her so small in the chaos. Caleb lunged forward, shadows trailing behind him like a storm cloud, swirling and writhing. I felt the force of his anger, it pushed against me, as if the darkness itself wanted to swallow us whole. Suddenly everything went quiet. An unnatural stillness spread throughout the room. Fear tugged at my gut. What was happening? Then, with a clap of thunder that jerked us all, the lights flickered back to life with a fizzling yell. My eyes darted back to Caleb, but he was gone. Just an empty space where madness had been. "Lily!" I spun around, but she was nowhere to be found. The shadows were gone, but the weight of dread hung in the air, heavy and stretched thin like a tightrope I was about to fall from. Where had she gone? The darkness returned warm, welcoming, an old friend. I could feel its seductive pull wrapping around my limbs as questions flooded my mind. What choice did I have? Desperate and breathless, I called out one last time. "Lily, please, where are you?" Into the emptiness where shadows swirled, a soft voice replied, "Grandpa, I see them. They're waiting." And just like that, the threads of fate began to weave tighter around us, whispering dark secrets that promised more than just power. What horrors awaited us next? The shadows curled around me like fingers, tightening their grip as dread washed over me. The air rippled with an unseen tension, vibrating with the echoes of Caleb's promise. "They're waiting." It slithered through my mind, planting seeds of fear. Lily! I screamed, my voice blending with the oppressive silence that filled the room. Where are you? No answer came, only the deepening shadows that felt almost sentient. I couldn't shake the feeling they were watching, listening for my next move. Each breath pushed against an invisible weight, forcing me to concentrate, to listen. I had to will myself to calm my racing heart, yet every beat reminded me of the terror my granddaughter might be feeling just beyond my raucous thoughts. A faint sound cut through the stillness, a heartbeat echoing, a small whimper tinged with panic. It wasn't Caleb. It was Lily. I wasn't losing her. I couldn't lose her. Lily! Follow my voice. I pushed through the darkness, my hands brushing against the walls that felt damp, clammy. There was a current of energy, a pulse that surged beneath my fingertips, urging me deeper into the unknown. With each step, shadows shifted and swirled, taunting me further into the depths. The air began to crackle, an electric hum filling the space around me. I could feel another presence lingering, foreign and ominous. It felt like a heavy fog wrapping around my lungs, making it hard to breathe. Clenching my fists, I fought back. The fear tried to wrap itself around my heart, but I would not be consumed. And the distance. A soft light flickered, a tiny glimmer of hope amid the darkness. I stumbled toward it, my heart pounding louder, each pulse fueling my resolve. Then out of nowhere the room spun. A scream tore through the air. Not just any scream, but Lily's. Grandpa, help me! It sliced through the shadowy shroud, propelling me forward. I barreled into the light, and there she was, trapped in a swirling vortex of darkness. Caleb stood at its edge, his eyes gleaming with an otherworldly hunger. Bring her to me, he commanded, his voice dripping with malice. Together we'll unleash what's been hidden. With her my true power can rise. No! I roared, a fierce protectiveness surging through my veins. I spotted a cord tethering Lily to the vortex, black like the abyss. In that moment fury ignited within me, replacing the fear. I couldn't let him take her. Not now, not ever. I reached desperately for her hand. Lily grabbed my hand. Trust me. But the shadows pulsed violently, shrieking as if they were coming alive. Caleb's shape morphed, expanding and contracting, a nightmare winning the fight against reason. Deep inside I felt a shift. It was as if shadows were trying to consume my will, to intertwine my fate with Caleb's. Stop! I shouted, but my voice felt swallowed, lost in the tempest of darkness. I braced myself as the shadows reached out, cold tendrils curling around my arms, pulling me into their sinister grasp. The world twisted again, and before I could scream, a cold hand gripped my wrist, another icy touch sliding around my neck. As I gasped for breath, I felt the weight of dread crush down. If Caleb wanted Lily, he would have to go through me first. I locked eyes with her, summoning all the courage I had left. I won't let him take you, Lily. We're stronger than this. Just as those vows reached my lips, the grip around my neck tightened, cutting off my air. Panic surged beneath me, and as I fought to break free, I sensed darkness tightening around us both. The vortex whirled dangerously, twisting fate and reality, and in that moment I realized there was a choice I didn't know I was standing over. What if I could join him just to save her? Heavy with conflicting thoughts, I gasped, struggling to breathe. What would I choose? Would I dare sacrifice my soul to protect Lily? And in the shadows a new voice found its way to me. Grandpa! You need to listen. I faltered, fear and confusion rooting me in place. What knowledge did she have to share in this darkness that could alter everything? The shadows tightened their grip, squeezing the air from my lungs, but I was too locked in the chaos to fully comprehend the danger. I stared into Lily's eyes, searching for a flicker of reassurance, a hint that we could withstand this nightmare together. Grandpa, please. Her voice trembled like a fragile bird caught in a storm. You need to believe me. Caleb is not what he seems. I wanted to yell back, to promise her that I would always protect her, but my words vanished in the storm of fear crashing against us. The cold fingers of darkness tugged at my mind, whispering doubts, seeds of despair that clawed at my resolve. What do you mean? I managed to force out, trying to quell the turmoil in my chest. What does he want with you? The tendrils of shadow flickered, lapping at my ankles, hungry for fear. I felt Caleb's gaze bore into me, a predator sizing up its prey. What she knows could alter the very essence of our existence, he sneered, fists trembling with anticipation. Her spirit is tied to the darkness, and she is far more powerful than you could ever comprehend. Lily gasped. No, Grandpa, you have to fight. He wants to manipulate my power for his own gain. I could see a fire igniting in her eyes, a resolve that matched my own. But the shadows grew restless, swirling faster, pulling in every ounce of my stamina. Stay strong for me, Lily. We're going to figure this out together. My heart raced as I felt the tremors of her tether pulsing between us. Just then, Caleb broke into a twisted smile. You think you can defy me? This darkness craves to consume souls, and it will not stop until it has its fill. The shadows responded to his words, lashing out like serpents. A sudden surge of fear gripped me. What if this wasn't just about Lily? What if this darkness wanted me to? Listen to me. Lily's urgent plea tore through the chaos. If we can find the connection, the heart of the vortex, we could break free. That's the key. Where is it? I shouted, desperation scrambling my thoughts. The shadows tugged harder, wrapping tighter around my arms, but a flicker of hope kindled in her voice. You have to focus. Follow the rhythm of our hearts. Her small fists pounded against the invisible barrier, defiance radiating from her. The pulse of the darkness shifted, as if mocking our resolute spirits. It echoed around us, a taunting beat that mirrored our racing hearts. I closed my eyes, tuning out the cacophony. I could feel Lily's heartbeat, every thud as if it tethered us to the light. Lily! I yelled, my voice surging with newfound conviction. Together! Break it! In a flash, realization washed over me. The connection wasn't just about fighting against the shadows, but harnessing our joint strength. I reached deep within, feeling the warmth and strength of her presence. On the count of 3, we break this hold. 1, 2, 3. We screamed the word together. Freedom! Light erupted from our voices, bursting against the oppressive darkness, pushing back against the cruel tendrils. The shadows howled in protest, their grip faltering for the first time. But Caleb only laughed, a low rumble that sent chills through me. Do you really think you can escape? His twisted taunt grew loud, rippling through the air like a sonic wave. Shadows recoiled but pushed back aggressively. Lily squeezed my hand tighter. Grandpa, we have to keep pushing. If we allow even a moment of doubt. Before she could finish, the ground heaved like a violent storm, and waves of shadows crashed over us again, threatening to pull us apart. Remember what it's like to feel the light, I shouted, fighting against the surge. Just as hope lit within me, a piercing scream erupted. No, it can't end like this. And then I felt the bindings begin to relinquish their hold, but something deeper grabbed at my soul, pulling me toward Caleb's hungry glare. Your fear will be your undoing. He sneered, and I caught the glint of darkness in his eyes. Then, in the limbo between light and shadow, I understood. The choice lay not only in saving Lily but confronting my own deepest fears. What truths lay hidden in this darkness? What sacrifices would it take to claim the light? As the shadows whispered around me, one question screamed against the silence. Would I have the courage to face Caleb's darkness, or would I plunge into despair? The shrieks of the shadows surrounded us, a cacophony of anguish and rage that filled my ears with a maddening chorus. I tightened my grip on Lily's hand, feeling her warmth against the bone-chilling cold that enveloped us. The light we had generated began to flicker, now only a fragile shield against the relentless shadows that pushed back with renewed fervor. Stay with me, Lily. My voice was raw desperation clawing at my throat as I fought the wave of darkness rushing towards us. The air twisted, saturated with Caleb's taunting laughter. Each sound felt like knives slicing through my resolve. Grandpa, you believe in me, don't you? She cried out, her voice steadying in the face of chaos. Her courage ignited a spark inside me, a glimmer of hope, however feeble, that refused to be extinguished. I do. I always will. I shouted over the howling shadows, my heart aligned with hers in the battle against the encroaching darkness. But we need to find that heart. Focus, Lily. Caleb's eyes gleamed with the gnashing of black clouds around us. The heart of the vortex? You know nothing of what you're asking for. He lunged forward, and the shadows danced eagerly behind him, snapping at our heels. They will drown in their greed. The darkness hissed, each word a promise of dread. swirling towards us like a tempest of black smoke. Quickly think. I pressed. What do you see? Feel? Anything? And then a tremor beneath my feet, as if the ground itself was alive, shivering with anticipation. Feel, Grandpa. Remember our favorite place? Images flooded my mind: sunny days at the park, laughter cascading down soft grass, the gentle rustle of leaves dancing in the breeze. The oak tree. Yes, the heart is rooted where light and shadow collide. The shadows recoiled momentarily, the flickers of light growing even brighter from our shared memories. It was an anchor, a foundation we could build upon. You think you can summon the light? Caleb spat, his voice dripping with contempt as he gestured violently. His shadows swirled with increasing ferocity, striking at us with wild intensity. Together, I urged, we can find the heart. On the count of 3. As we counted down, time seemed to stretch. Each number echoed around us, the pulse of our hearts matching the rhythm of the dark tide. From deep within, I felt the warmth of hope curling inside my chest. 1. The shadows swirled darker, pulsating with Caleb's vicious determination. You're too weak. 2. Lily's grip tightened on my hand, her small fingers resonating with an energy that surged between us. I could almost see the light flickering at the edge of my vision, beckoning us forward. 3. With all our might we shouted, illuminate. An explosion of light erupted between us, piercing through Caleb's smirk and driving back the shadows. For a moment the world illuminated, a golden beacon of bravery and connection surged forth, swirling in patterns of hope and defiance. But then, just as suddenly, the light flickered and dimmed. With a final lash of shadows they surged back, dragging me backwards, away from Lily's tether. No! I screamed in horror as the darkness began to unwind its grip on the memories we had conjured, snuffing out the warmth we created. Grandpa, don't let go. Her voice trembled but stood strong. The bond we shared was tangible, but the shadowy whispers churned faster, weaving doubt and fear tightly around my heart. Caleb, you can't have her. You want to take us. Rage fueled my voice as I fought against the pull. Take her. Caleb's laughter echoed, chilling my bones as he leaned closer, the shadows howling, crashing over my vision like waves. Her fortune is mine to exploit. In that instant, the shadows carried a revelation, not just of fear but of the truth I had to confront. Was it only Lily he sought, or was I merely a pawn in this sinister game, one that played not just with our lives but with something even more precious? As the light flared one last time, I felt a thought clawing at my mind, a rotten doubt that forked into my consciousness. What if freeing Lily cost me everything? Would I make the ultimate sacrifice to save her? Or would I lose myself to fear, drowning in the darkness that threatened to consume us both? The answer eluded me, flickering in and out like the very shadows living around us. And as I faced this unfathomable choice, one truth loomed large. Our fight was only just beginning. What would the next moment hold? What darkness awaited as I stood poised on the precipice of decision? The darkness closed in tighter, tendrils of shadow wrapping around my ankles like icy chains. I felt the weight of Caleb's intent pressing down, heavier than the chill of the night air. Just a step away, the shadows writhed with impatience, whispering secrets and lies, taunting my deepest fears. Lily, I called, trying to anchor her brave spirit to me. Don't lose faith. We're in this together. But my voice faltered, buried under the swell of Caleb's sinister grin. You're just prolonging the inevitable. You think you can save her, old man? His words dripped like venom, heartless and mocking. Her fate is sealed in shadow now, and you're too weak to change that. I could see Lily's face, a mix of determination and fear. Each flicker of light we had conjured began to dim, the bond between us wavering as despair seeped into our hearts. Grandpa, focus. Remember the oak tree. It's our strength. I know. I yelled back, summoning every ounce of energy I could muster, straining against the darkness holding me captive. There was a pulse, a rhythm deep down in my gut, the heartbeat of memories we had built together. The ground rumbled beneath us, echoing against the dark whirlpool. I dug deep for that feeling, clutching onto the joy of our shared laughter, the promise of protection. Lily, picture the tree. Picture the light. As if in response, a golden sheen broke free from the depths of my memory, sparking a warmth that surged through my veins. I closed my eyes for a moment, summoning that heartfelt image, the oak tree standing tall, its branches a sanctuary against the storms of life. Now, let us do this, I shouted, hoping my voice would cut through the chaos around us. We began to chant together, powers of light and love merging into unity. Illuminate! Illuminate! Shadows recoiled with an unearthly shriek, their grasp weakening visibly, flickering like dying embers. Each time our voices harmonized, the world around us glowed brighter. The air shimmered as hope took form, radiating warmth that edged out the cold. But Caleb retaliated, his laughter echoing through the air, sending a chill down my spine. You cannot outrun destiny. The shadows will reclaim her. In a last-ditch effort, Caleb extended his hand, his fingers curling as if at the strings of a puppet. Dark shapes twisted and turned, rushing back toward us with renewed vigor. I could see them now more than shadows. They were past regrets, fears, and sorrows taking shape. Fight, Lily. Fight with me, I pleaded, terrified at what would happen if I failed. She squeezed my hand tighter, that tiny powerhouse of purity. I felt her heart match mine, feisty and defiant against the tidal wave of darkness crashing against us. Together, she echoed, her voice carrying a weight that anchored me in this battleground of light and souls. And then, in a final moment of clarity, the whisper returned, a voice I recognized, barely audible through the howling tempest of shadows. Grandpa, they will steal your fortune. Trust your heart. That S when it hit like a lightning strike. Caleb wasn't just after Lily. He wanted to seize our bond, to drain it and weaponize our connection. Would he become more powerful if he severed that link? With the realization burning at my core, I turned toward the heart of darkness, where Caleb stood, triumphant. You will not take our light. And with that I surged forward, dragging Lily with me. In the whirlwind of chaos, time slowed, the shadows shrieked, and I could almost see the swirling vortex of fate shifting. What awaited us at the heart of this battle? Would we rise or fall through the cracks of destiny? As the shadow swirled to descend upon us, I wondered, would the heart of light be strong enough to withstand Caleb's dark ambition, or would we be left in his wake, trapped forever in his darkened grip? Light blazed in a storm of colors, pushing through the shadows that threatened to engulf us. The flicker of the oak tree flashed in my mind, strong, resilient against storms past. I gripped Lily's hand, feeling the warmth radiating from her small palm, anchoring me in a tempest of chaos. We can do this, I shouted, conviction piercing through the darkness, wrapping around us like a protective cloak. Caleb's sneer twisted as he sensed our resolve. You think you can fight? Together? His laughter echoed, cruel and mocking, like a cloud of smoke threatening to choke the light. The shadows writhed, eager to swallow our hopes. But I thought of everything we had shared: park picnics, laughter, bedtime stories. Those moments bulged like embers in my heart, igniting a furious light. Lily, picture the oak. Feel the strength, I urged, drawing on every ounce of our shared memories. Suddenly, Lily's small voice broke through the chaos. Grandpa, it's not just memories. We're true fighters. Her confidence sparked a flame in my chest. We have to believe. Believe, I repeated, the roar escaping my lips like a battle cry. Shadows recoiled, hissing as they lost their grip, faltering against our combined force. With every chant of illuminate, the darkness shattered like glass, revealing a path. Light erupted from our entwined hands, illuminating the room with a fierce brilliance that pushed away the encroaching shadows. For every ounce of darkness that tried to draw us back, a wave of our light surged forth, enveloping the malevolence swirling around Caleb. I won't let you take her, I yelled, feeling a surge of determination. The shadows twisted, recoiling from our spirits, our connection. I could almost feel our bond, a beacon of love, hardening under the weight of darkness. Caleb's eyes burned with rage, the shadows swirling like a shipwrecked tunnel diving into black water. You think this ends here? You can't escape your blood. With the remnants of fear crushed beneath anger and love, I pressed forward. Watch me, I shouted in a moment that felt like time stood still. I released a surge of light that erupted from our hands, ropes of energy shooting into the void around Caleb. They wrapped around him, stunning him with their vigor, binding him to the ground. Now, I cried. Together. Together. Lily echoed, as we focused our energy into a singular flash, one that outshined the shadows and the light combined. Our spirits entwined, forming a brilliant bridge to the heart of the darkness. The shadows shrieked, a sound both terrible and beautiful, as if the very fabric of darkness split in two under our united strength. And then, like an explosion, the room burst into blinding light, scattering every whispering shadow into oblivion. As the illumination dimmed, we found ourselves standing in the familiar embrace of the oak tree in our favorite park, sunlight filtering through the leaves, warm and inviting. The world felt safe here, untouched by the shadows we had bravely faced. Did we win? Lily asked, her eyes widening in wonder as she glanced around, absorbing the peace. We did, I breathed, pulling her close. My heart swelled with relief, gratitude flooding through every part of me. Together. Just then, a soft rustling led my eyes to the branch above. Glistening light danced spirits of our ancestors swirled, nodding in approval as they surrounded us with warmth. They witnessed our bravery, celebrating our power as a family. We stopped him, I whispered, clutching Lily tighter. A wave of joy washed over me. That darkness didn't own us anymore. I knew we could. She beamed, her innocent face glowing with pride. A deep thrum resonated within me as a sense of enduring peace enveloped us. We could finally return home from the chaos, liberated from the fear that had once held such power over you. As we walked under the oak, every step echoed the promise of new beginnings. But the journey had not only highlighted our resilience, it had forged an unbreakable bond stronger than any darkness could touch. Remember, my little warrior, I said gently, looking down into her bright, shining eyes. We face life's shadows together forever. Lily smiled widely, and the light from the tree shimmered brighter around us, anchoring our spirits in love and hope. We would carry the lessons learned from our battle, and that knowledge would shield us from any lurking shadows ahead. And for the first time in a long time, I found solace in the present. Reality felt tangible and everything felt right as we stepped forward together. Now, dear viewers, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to never miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now, it really helps feed the algorithm that brings you the content you crave. Flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about this ending. What do you think? Was Caleb really gone for good? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your engagement makes all the difference.